Oh shit, run for it. I like it, I'm coming! Woo! What the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy?
No, fuck! Get it!
Yeah!
Let's go! Fucking go! Holy shit!
It's over, it's actually over.
Let's go!
Valor to me!
Alrighty, hello everybody. So today I'm gonna be making a video that I've wanted to make for a long time, and I just didn't have the time to get about doing it. I was kind of waiting for the meta to change a little bit. I was gonna make this video a while ago, but since with preseason coming, more Keystones were viable for Quinn, so I just waited for the meta to stay for a little bit just so I can learn about things. And now I'm going to be talking to you guys in this video about every single Keystone that I run as Quinn, both top lane and AD carry. I'll make a jungle video later in the future, but for right now I'm going to be focusing on top and ADC. So first things first, what makes Quinn such a great, dominant, oppressive, unreally good solo queue player is, or a champion I mean, a good solo queue champion, is the fact that she is so versatile when it with regards to Keystones. So right now, Quinn can use the most Keystones out of any single other champion in the game viably. So you might bring up like, oh, what about Garen? Garen can use a whole lot of Keystones. Well, no other champ, not even Garen, can use as many as Quinn viably. And what I mean by viably is you run these Keystones in certain matchups that you would be losing, and these Keystones alone put the matchup in your favor completely just by the Keystone that you run. Alright boys, and just to prove to you guys that it's not just fluke and I'm not just playing on normals with this, so right here you can see I am on, I would have been on a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would have been on a nice 12 game winning streak if I didn't lose this one. So you can see that I had tremendous success, just one loss in 12 games or 13 games, and every single game I change my Keystone. So as you can see, I have Glacial, I have Aftershock, Fleet, Press the Attack, and basically every matchup I change my Keystone, and you can see the success that I've been having. And I actually made this account 4 weeks ago, unranked account, and I'm Diamond 1, 53 LP right now on it. Almost Master, and got a 73% win rate with an okay KDA. So I assure you guys that if you take some tips from my Keystone videos and you try it out in your own play, then your performance will be consistent as well, as long as you put in time to practice these new Keystones. Today I'm going to be talking about all 10 Keystones that I run, and then I'm going to give an in-depth analysis on every single Keystone, what matchups to run it in, and why it's so useful to run the Keystone in that matchup. So without further ado, here we go. So I'm going to be first things but first, before I go into the in-depth analysis, I'm going to quickly show you guys all 10 Keystones that I run, and then I'll go into the in-depth analysis on it. So I run Press the Attack, that's viable, Fleet Bulwark, Electrocute, Predator, Dark Harvest, Phase Rush, Aftershock, Grasp of the Undying, yep, Grasp of the Undying now, Glacial Augment, and Kleptomancy. So all those 10 Keystones are viable on Quinn, and now I'm gonna give my thoughts on each Keystone and then give you guys some gameplay footage on them in action, showing you why they counter certain champions and why they put certain matchups in your favor, and why you guys should be running these Keystones as well. Because I've been looking at so many Quinn players. I've been looking on LOL skill top Quinns in the world. I've been looking Korean solo queue Quinn players. I've been looking at professional players in the LCS who have picked up Quinn. I've been looking at streamers like Tyler1, Voyboy, etc., etc. And the biggest problem that they have with their Quinn is that they run the same Keystones every single matchup. So you have people like Tyler1 literally running Electrocute 24/7, and then you wonder why his win rate goes to 49% and he's not able to be consistent. So sometimes he completely pops off with his Keystone. Other times you just see him completely end his face off, and that's because he's running the wrong Keystone. That's just the reason why you should be changing it up, is because it allows you to perform way more consistently than ever before. So right here, I'm going to start with Press the Attack. So I'm going to show you the common rune page that I run. Well, really the secondary, like the Keystone, the little secondary runes are completely matchup dependent. But I'm going to be talking about what matchups I'd run at Press the Attack in on top lane and ADC. So, and then I'm going to be talking about some of the secondary runes. So I run Triumph almost every single time because unless if you have a real, like if I have a Soraka support and I'm playing AD carry, Overheal is actually really good because the healing is going to actually be useful and it's going to do way more than Triumph because it gives you a shield when they heal you when you're full health. So it really depends. 99 times out of 100 I would run Triumph, and then if I have a Soraka or a really heavy heal support, I'd run Overheal. And Presence of Mind is not good for you, so I wouldn't run that because the cooldown for your ultimate is not useful. Secondary, okay. So I run Bloodline every single time, no matter what. If you guys notice, the only time I wouldn't run Bloodline is if I'm playing top lane, and I would rush Blade of the Rune King first, which I'm going to talk about builds later. But for right now, basically, if I'm rushing Blade of the Rune King first, no matter where I'm playing, I'd run Alacrity. And if not, I'm going to run Bloodline because I'm not going to build any lifesteal otherwise, and this is going to be really good having the 8% lifesteal without any lifesteal items. So last one, again, situational. It's either cut down or coop. If they have two tanks or 3 tanks, I'd run cut down. If not, I run coop. So now, this secondary again is completely matchup based. So before I used to run Celerity, but after the nerf, I haven't been running it much at all. Like Celerity is not the greatest on Quinn anymore. Usually because games haven't been ending pretty early. I don't run Gathering Storm either. I've been running Absolute Focus and Nullifying Orb in most matchups. Even if they have like only one AP champ, Nullifying Orb is still really good because if that AP champ tries to burst you, it really saves your life. And a lot of champions have magic damage that you guys don't even think about. So let's say you're playing against a Zed and a Garen. Both those champs are full AD, but both of their ultimates do magic damage. So Nullifying Orb actually helps you in those matchups too. So yeah, I'd run these 2 Keystones at the moment. So before I used to run Celerity and Gathering Storm, this is meta dependent, I guess. So if the games end up longer, I'd run Gathering Storm. Like if the meta shifts to like longer games average, I'd run Gathering Storm and Celerity if they change it. But right now it's just really bad, so we'll have to see what Riot decides to do with it. But at the moment, this is what I typically run. And for these, I always run attack speed no matter what, and secondary always run adaptive force no matter what. Those 2 are every single matchup. And this one is matchup dependent. So if they have a lot of AD, I go armor. A lot of AP, I go magic resist. And if it's like a balance, I go health. But that's pretty standard across any build. So now I'm going to talk to you guys about what matchups to run Press the Attack in. So if I'm playing top lane, I'd run Press the Attack into tank matchups. So if I'm playing against, this is just one way. So there's another Keystone that I run into the tank matchups that I found out recently, but usually this is one way you can, one playstyle you can adapt to. So you can run Press the Attack into tank. So any tank you can think of. If you think about Sion, you think about Malphite, you think about Maokai, any single tank. It's really good because no matter, even Mundo too, like no matter how, because they're gonna just stack armor like crazy, and since you have range, literally all you do is just proc Press the Attack, and you're able to do crazy damage to them. And even though they have a lot of armor, this 12% from all sources not only helps your damage, but it helps your team's damage. So it's the best rune to run into tanks. They don't really do much damage to you, so fleet and stuff is completely useless. Press the Attack just gives you the best damage possible. I also run Press the Attack when they have a lot of squishies too. So other matchups you could run it in is Jayce, like squishy matchups. Like you can run into Jayce, you can run it into Gangplank, all of that because your damage can be crazy. And for bot lane, I'd run it into any hyper carry you can think of. So I run it into Kai'Sa, I'd run it into Jinx, I'd run into Twitch, I'd run into Vayne, simply because this rune is 1v5 potential. It is the strongest early game rune in the entire game, and it gives you the most damage early, mid, and late game. It's the best damage rune for Quinn, for DPS. So usually, so that's basically it. So I run it for tank matchups or matchups where they have a lot of squishies, and I think that I can use. I'm not too worried about the poke. So if they don't have like a lot of poke, and I think that I can just like all in a lot, I'd run Press the Attack. So those are really the key matchups that I run into, and I'm going to show you guys some gameplay footage of me with this rune in action to show you how powerful it is if you run it in the right matchups. So here's a little clip right here. I'm on the way, Lowie's not coming. I'm coming for shutdown on TF.
Oh my god.
Dude, kill this guy.
I'm ulting.
No, one more. Got him. It's a huge shutdown. Wait, we win this. Keep going. Oh, Lowie's here. Fuck.
Oh, you might be dead here, dude.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, she missed.
Wait, she missed. 100%.
And we're still going.
You won't turn that. You won't turn that.
Yeah, tempting me. Alright, so what I want you guys to take away from that clip is that I was able to get that triple kill solely because of the press the attack damage that I was able to put and kill TF right at the beginning of that fight and just nuke Nami at the end too. So when you're playing against hyper carries, they have a weak early game, so you're able to just completely stomp them in lane and then you can carry off that. So that game I was playing against Vayne and I ended up carrying the game so hard because I got so fed in lane and just because I ran press the attack in that matchup. Yep, so the next one is Fleet Footwork. So what I run Fleet Footwork in is matchups where they have a lot of poke too. So like I said that you can run Jayce in the press the attack. It's all preference, by the way. This is all preference of how you're personally feeling. So some matchups I'd run for Jayce I run press the attack trying to out damage him. For others have a lot of poke too, you could run Fleet Footwork. So for top lane right now, I don't think there's any matchup I would run Fleet Footwork in actually. So top lane, after the Keystone got nerfed, I don't run it top lane really at all. For bot lane, I'd run it if they have poke support. So no matter what, pokes, it doesn't matter about their AD carry at all. I don't care about their ADC. It's their support. So if they have like a Brand, Zyra, or if they have AP Mage AD carry too, I'd run Fleet Footwork every single time. So no matter what, if they have a lot of poke bot lane, I just run Fleet Footwork. Otherwise, I won't be able to play the game. Like you're just gonna poke me in a lane if I run. Say if I run press the attack and they have poke supports. They're literally just going to poke me down in lane and I'm going to be useless and out the back and then just be screwed over. Fleet Footwork gives you enough sustain to live in the lane. So that's basically where you run it and why it is good. So yeah, I'm going to show you a quick clip right here of Fleet Footwork in action. Alright, so next one. Electrocute. So a standard rune page would be boom, boom, boom. So you go sudden impact, eyeball collection. This one's preference. I think Ravenous Hunter is pretty good. So actually, I actually don't run Electrocute at all right now. I personally do not, but I know a lot of other Quinn players do, and I'm going to explain the reasoning behind it. So you'd run Electrocute into squishy matchups, just similar to my press the attack, but press the attack is like Electrocute is only good if you are running a full lethality build, because Electrocute is strong for your initial burst, whereas a press the attack is strong for extended DPS. So Tyler, if you think about Tyler 1's Quinn build, which he does, he runs Electrocute, and then he goes Stormrazor, Shiv, IE every single game. That's completely counterintuitive. That if you think about that. So what he does, Electrocute is good for your first, like your initial assassination, and then after that it's useless. It's gone. It's procced. It's completely useless. Whereas press the attack is literally the opposite. After your 3 auto attacks, your DPS is increased. But if you're running a DPS build, you should be running press the attack. If I'm running crit with synergize with press the attack like crazy, because I get the proc off 12% increase, and then my DPS is crazy afterwards. But if you're running lethality, this is way better, because with lethality, what you want to do is assassinate a target and dip. And that's exactly what Electrocute does. So if you're running a lethality build, go Electrocute. And which matchups you run it in is any squishy matchups top lane. It's another alternative if you want to play the lethality style. So I only recommend Electrocute if you're running lethality, and no other times. Only if you're running against, only if you're planning on building lethality. That's just my opinion on that. And where I'd run it, low elo. So if you're playing high elo, I would not. I would just avoid lethality altogether. For those who know me, know I don't like lethality at all for Quinn. But I know other players do, and they're consistent with it. I guess that's kind of a preference kind of thing, but I really don't recommend it. I recommend press the attack in any matchup you run Electrocute in. But yeah, just if you're going to run Electrocute, do not go DPS, because it's completely counterintuitive. And yeah, press the attack literally does the exact same thing, but just way better for a DPS build. So next one, Predator. I actually don't play Predator too much, but I know other Quinn players do, so I'm going to explain the thoughts behind it. Predator's probably good if you're playing top lane and you want to go for nice assassinations, or if you're playing jungle. So jungle Quinn would be well with it. I personally don't recommend Predator too much. Like in any matchup, I don't see it working, but some Quinn players get away with it. I guess it's just preference, so that's why I'm explaining in this video. It is a viable rune. These two are both fine. Even though I don't run Electrocute or Predator, they're both very viable runes on Quinn. I see other people in high elo having success with it. But yeah, it's basically if you want to prioritize roaming and stuff like that. So if you really think that you want to roam a lot and that's your win condition, then you can run Predator and just camp bot lane if you want. If you're playing top lane, just push up the wave and then camp bot lane. And for this one, you could go either lethality or DPS build. So now, Dark Harvest. Ooh. So they recently changed this rune for preseason, as you guys know. They nerfed the damage on it pretty significantly, so it's not really good on many champions right now. What matchups what I recommend to run Dark Harvest in? If you're playing low elo again, because if you're playing high elo, you're not going to be able to proc it at all because it's so hard to get champions low top lane because usually you're playing against tank matchups or bruisers, and by the time they're low, they would just back in TP, and you can't really use it too much, and then early game it doesn't have much of a kill pressure either, but it is a viable rune for Quinn. I just, not right in its current state, I want to run it. Maybe if you're playing low elo, if you're smurfing, then it's a good rune to climb with because if it's got a lot of carry potential and you can do a lot of one-shots. So this is good for DPS and lethality. Better for lethality though if you want to get fed, and maybe if you're playing mid lane too, it's pretty good. So yeah, that's another viable keystone. Now, ooh, this is going to be a really important one, boys. So phase rush. I had a lot of questions. So on my stream today, I actually had a few people asking me about phase rush, and they had some weird thoughts. They said, why do you run phase rush? What is the point of phase rush on Quinn? Why do high elo players run phase rush? So I'm going to explain. So this is typically the keystones, the runes I run for it. And yeah, so this is basically my rune page. The only thing that I would change in this build is if they have a heavy AP top laner, I'd go Nullifying Orb. Otherwise, I'd go Mana Flow Ban. So currently, I run phase rush into like around 4 matchups, and 2 matchups are completely ideal for Quinn. So what phase rush does, so I'm just going to read it. So what it does is after 3 attacks, you get 25 to 40% movement speed, which is really good because it synergizes with your W movement speed. But the reason that you run it, the main reason that this keystone is so good is because the second part where it says, and it gives you 75% slow resistance. So that's the main reason why I run it, and I'm going to explain what matchups that you run it in. So what you run phase rush in is Singed, Nasus, Garen, and Aatrox. So those are the 4 matchups that I currently run it in. Other people I've been seeing, like competitive players, they literally run phase rush every single time. I don't agree with that. I think you should only run it in those 4 matchups and perhaps any other champions that have slows. So if I'm playing against Cassiopeia or anything, I'd run phase rush as well, but you don't really play against Casses a lot top lane because this video is focused on top lane. But yeah, if there's any champion you can think of top lane that has any kind of slow at all, that is like a really, really hefty slow, or any grounding, then you run phase rush. So now I'm going to explain why. So let's think about Singed, for example. Singed, the only way that Singed ever beats you is if he throws his W at you and he grounds you, because that slows you like crazy, and when you're on his W, you can't flash away and you can't use your vault. So he can just run at you and then fling you into his poison and then just damage you like crazy. So what phase rush does, when Singed is trying to come at you, you do your 3 auto attacks, which works with your Q too. So if you press Q on the enemy and you do 1 auto attack, that's going to proc phase rush because the Harrier counts as well. So if you literally do that, you can proc it so easily. And what is so beautiful about this keystone in that matchup is that when Singed is trying to come at you, you get 40% movement speed, 25 to 40% movement speed, which is really good because you want to run away from him. And then when he throws his W at you, you get 75% slow resistance. So you can just run through his W like it's nothing because you're so quick and you got 75% slow resistance. So when you get out of his W, the matchup is completely in your favor. You can't do anything. The only way he can get on you is if he throws W at you, but phase rush completely counters that kit. So I've been getting stomped by Singes. Like that's been, some people argue it's a really big counter pick to Quinn. That's because people haven't been running phase rush. If you run phase rush in the Singed, it's a matchup completely in your favor because he's at the end of the day he's just melee after that. If he can't get up to you, if he can't catch up to you, then you just kite him to death and you get a free lane right there. So now the Nasus matchup. So I've also had questions like, oh, I've been getting stomped by Nasuses. How do I beat the Susan? How do I beat the Kayn? As Trick G would say. Well, you run phase rush because let's think about it again. How does Nasus beat you ever in Quinn? How does he ever kill you? It's by his wither. His wither is the only way he ever kills you. But what phase rush does, again, 40% movement speed, but the main thing is the 75% slow resistance. So although you're withered, you can easily run away. Like he withers you, he tries to run at you, you proc phase rush, you run away like it's absolutely nothing, and the matchup's in your favor. At the end of the day, he's just melee. You cut him to death, and you can absolutely stomp him. Aatrox as well, because what Aatrox does is the way Aatrox wins the matchup is if he gets you inside his W. I think it's his W. I actually don't know what ability. I'm assuming it's W. Anyways, don't quote me on that. But whatever ability that traps you in the cage, that's the way he beats you. So the way to win, that ability slows you. So phase rush, if he tries to engage on you, you proc your phase rush, you run out of that, and then when you're out of his little untethered chain, I think it's called, then you just cut him to death. So this brings you in a winning position. And then the last matchup that I usually run in is Garen, not because of slow resistance, but because phase rush is essentially like a better fleet. And Garen only wins the matchup is if he runs at you. And I don't run Glacial into Garen because he has slow resistance himself. So if he's slowed, he just presses Q and he's not slowed anymore. So Glacial is counterintuitive in the Garen. But Phase Rush is good because it gives you the movement speed, so you're able to kite Garen to death and you run away. So now, I always run Blade of the Ruined King first. I'm going to be talking about build by the end of the video, but with Phase Rush, I always run Blade of the Ruined King. And like I said earlier, I run Blade with Alacrity, and if I'm running Stormizer first, I go Bloodline. But since I'm running Phase Rush, I always go Blade of the Ruined King first because I only run a top lane. And yeah, so I run Alacrity with Blade Rush. Now, we're at the fun part. So I'm going to talk about Grasp of the Undying real quick. So these ones are all situational, but I'm going to be talking about the Keystone, really. This is what this video is focused on, the Keystones, and then the secondary runes are more matchup dependent. So Grasp of the Undying, what it does, it seems like it's horrible on a ranged champion, but if you're playing top lane, they actually, because they buffed, it's really like everything is reduced by 40% for a ranged champion, which seems like it's a bad rune to take in general, but since they changed it up so that you can pick your own runes now, it's actually like a good keystone on her, because before you run Grasp and then you have no attack speed and then you'd be useless, but now you can run attack speed with it. So the matchups that I run it in, I'd recommend it for Kennen and for healing matchups. So if I'm playing against Vlad, if I'm playing against Swain's a possibility if you want. That's one way you could do it, but mostly like Vlad and Kennen. So Grasp was really good into Kennen because it's like, because Fleet got nerfed, so Fleet doesn't give you the best healing ever. So if you're playing against like a healing matchup or a Kennen who's just someone you just really want sustain in that matchup, Grasp is really good because it gives you health every 4 seconds, and it gives you max health, which helps you in the matchup in general. So those are two matchups I'd recommend it in. I haven't been experimenting with it too much more, but those two seem like it's the best. Vlad just heals up a lot, and then you just get to heal up too, and you get max health. And then Kennen, like, it just actually, like, I've been losing to Kennens like all the time, and then the second I started running Grasp in the Kennen, I've started like slapping the matchup like really hard, so I started running that. This one, top lane always run Demolish. Demolish is super busted, and this one is matchup dependent. So say if you're playing against top lane, yeah, I'd run second one every time because they poke you a lot, and then second one gets to heal you a lot. And I'd run Unflinching because the other two are pretty garbage on Quinn. So yeah, that's basically the keystone that I would run. And then now we're going to Aftershock. Okay, this is my favorite. So you might be thinking, why on earth would you ever run Aftershock on Quinn? Why? Well, like, why do you do it? Like, I've actually, like, in game when people see that I have Aftershock on, they just start, every time I get into game, so people would just spam ping Aftershock on me as I'm sending a message to me like, oh, you're trolling, bro. No, it's actually so good. So the matchups that I would run it in is top and AD carry. So top lane, only two matchups you run Aftershock in. Only two. You run Aftershock into Irelia and Camille. The two favorite matchups that every Quinn player loves playing against. No sarcasm intended. So basically, Quinn and Irelia and Camille are the two matchups that everyone on every single Quinn main page, in our Discord, in our Reddit page, on anything, every Quinn main player agrees. Top lane, that Irelia and Camille are the two biggest counters to Quinn. Mostly Camille. Irelia is like a close kind of second. She's really tough to deal with after level 6. Camille, you can't do anything. I've been trying absolutely everything last season. I've been chaining a bunch of keystones. It's always been in her favor because she outdamages you in every way, shape, or form. But the second that I started running Aftershock in that matchup, it went in my favor. And same with Irelia. The second that I ran Aftershock, I won the matchup. And the reason why is because they rely on one-shotting you. That's their thing. They do more damage to you. Don't even try to out-damage them. Don't try to go press the attack and out-damage them because you won't. They have more CC than you. They have more, like, they can stick to you. Camille's ult can trap you so you can't get away. Aurelia's ult can trap you and make you disarmed so she can just jump on you 24/7 and just kill you and out-damage you. She will out-damage you. So don't even try that. And they both run Conquer. Camille doesn't run Conquer, but Aurelia does. Camille has a lot of poke with her Comet, usually what they run. So don't even bother it. But with Aftershock, what it does, when they jump at you and they're about to kill you, you press E, and Aftershock gives you 2.5 seconds of 120 armor. So it helps you. So say if Camille jumps on you, you press out, you activate your Aftershock with your E, and it makes you survive her burst. And then after that, when her abilities are on cooldown, then you can just cut her to death, because at the end of the day, she's a melee champ and you're arranged. And then bone plating also helps in that matchup too, because it's really hard for them to proc it as melee champs. So the only time they'd proc it is if they're trying to all in you. So bone plating really helps their all in a lot. So those are the two matchups that are on top lane. I'm going to be showing you gameplay footage of it right now. So yeah, and you guys, as you guys saw from that clip, I wasn't fed at all in that clip, and I was able to completely 1v1 her when we were both full health, simply because of Aftershock. I literally lived with a tink of health, and imagine if I wasn't running the Keystone, if I was running a damage one, she would have been able to one-shot me a whole lot earlier, but I survived with perfect HP simply because of Aftershock. It makes the matchup kind of go in your favor. You have a way better early game, and late game too. When she tries to nuke you, your Aftershock could save your life completely and then help you win the matchup from a matchup that you weren't able to win before if you didn't run Aftershock. Alright, now that I showed you that, now I'm going to talk about AD carry. And I'm going to be showing gameplay footage of this as well. So, what AD carry matchups would you run Aftershock in? Well, right now I only run 3 Keystones at AD carry. So I talked to you guys earlier about press the attack. I run that in all hyper carry matchups where I know that I will be able to stomp them early game. I run press the attack, and then I run fleet if they have a lot of poke. So let's say if I'm playing against like a Caitlyn, but that's probably the only. I said before that it's only the support, but if I'm playing against a Caitlyn too, I'd run fleet because they have a lot of poke, and if they have like a lot of pokey supports, I'd run fleet. Aftershock is if they have all in. If they have all-in champions. So all-in champions, I'm thinking about, for just AD carries, I'm thinking about Lucian. I am thinking about Draven. And those are probably the main two that you run it in. And right now, you only see Lucians and Dravens as I'm recording this video, because that's the meta right now. It's literally Lucian every game, and then some games you have Draven. So those are probably the only two matchups that I can think about at the top of my head. So it's all-in champions. So Lucian has been dominant in the scene right now, solo queue. The second that I switched to Aftershock, I have been absolutely abolishing Lucians. Like, even Lucian Braum lanes, I'm able to kill them, because right after they go in on me, I press activate Aftershock. It's actually such a, okay, so Aftershock, you can proc it on your E and only your E. So basically, what you can do is be really aggressive and you'll get away with it, because this armor makes you invincible against in 1v1s against ADCs. You just have way too much armor, they can't deal with it. The reason why other AD carries can't run Aftershock is because they have no reliable way of proccing it. So if you think about any AD carry, not many can proc it at all, but some, it's like really unreliable. So let's say Vayne, the only way she can proc it is if she condemns you to the wall, which is counterintuitive because you're already stunned. So when the Aftershock procs, then you won't be able to utilize it at all. Draven too, because Draven relies on damage. He doesn't want Aftershock because he needs Conqueror, really. That's just what Dravens do. And his E is kind of reliable, but you wouldn't really use E offensively sometimes. Sometimes you want to save it for defensive reactions. And if you use it early, then Aftershock, it doesn't really help. Like, Draven's the only second matchup that I can think of that can run it, but it's just not as reliable. So people have been not running it, but Quinn is the only one who can do it consistently and just really easy, because her E literally just press E on a champion and it procs. And if you're playing champs like Lucian Draven, you slap the 1v1. So it's so good, because if you have two items, no matter how fed they are, no matter how fed that Draven is, no matter how fed that Lucian is, you are winning that 1v1. You don't even need to press your Q. Like, you literally just press E on him and you auto attack him to death, and he's not killing you because you have the DPS of an AD carry. And he can't do any damage to you at all. It's actually such a busted Keystone. So what the combo is when I run bot lane is I fly up to them and I press, because usually I've been advocating for you guys to save your E's always save your E's for reactive only. But with Aftershock, you kind of reverse that. You want to initiate with E, but you have to be very careful with this. So if I'm playing against Draven, if I'm playing against Camille, too, I'm just going to talk about both of those matchups. So Camille's E can cancel your E, and Draven's E can cancel your E too. if you time it incorrectly, and then that means your Aftershock's not going to proc. So in those matchups, you have to be careful. So if Draven uses his E, then you can just go in really aggressive and then initiate with your E. So the combo is you use E, you auto attack them, and then you for the 2.5 seconds you just DPS them, and then after your Aftershock procs, then you blind them. So that gives you a free 4 seconds of basically crazy 1v1 potential, because then you have the 2.5 seconds with Aftershock, and then you get the blind afterwards. So that basically gives you, so it really saves your life a whole lot. They can't DPS you much at all for basically 4 seconds with the Aftershock and with your blind. So you use your Aftershock, you do the damage, and then you blind them afterwards, and then that just basically secures the fight for you. So I'm going to show you guys a clip of some clips of Aftershock and why it is so good. Lashando Rondo's going hella far. Oh, there's got no Pike either. Oh, what's he doing? Is he griefing? Or Rengar must be near. Come on, I got Aftershock, buddy. I got Aftershock. What do you just no damage to me? Look how busted. He literally does no damage to me. Your 1v1s are actually unbeatable. Like, you're way stronger than ever before in 1v1s. They can't do damage to you. Oh, Lashando Rondo's back in that bush, eh? Ooh. Lashando Rondo, buddy. What are you gonna do? Aftershock. Literally just I don't even need my Q anymore. like where's the counterplay in that? I don't even need my Q for these 1v1s. You literally can't do anything. Oh, good. Alright, so my favorite. So I actually have a few videos on this Keystone, but for anyone new to my channel, I am going to explain it. So, Glacial Augment. What I argue is probably one of the most busted Keystones on Quinn, if on certain matchups. So, I run this into any bruiser matchup that's not Camille Aurelia. So any single bruiser you can think about, anything that you would think about a bruiser. So any Juggernaut, basically any melee champ that isn't a full tank. So any champ that builds kind of damage, I run Glacial Augment into. That's a bruiser. That's not Aurelia Camille. It's the only two. So it's only run top lane. I don't run 80k anymore. And basically the reason why you run Glacial is because the only way, I'm going to use Riven as an example because she's just like the typical melee champ you can think of, but you can think about anyone. So I could do it for Yasuo, I can use this for Riven, I can use this for Jax, I can use this for Fiora. Any single melee champ you can think of that builds damage, any single one is really good, just not Aurelia Camille, like I said. So the reason why you run it is because if you think about your matchup between Riven or Jax or anything like that, the only way they beat you is if they can stick onto you, like Darius too. The only way they win is if they get into range of you and they can DPS you. That's the only way they win. The absolute only way they win is if they can catch up to you. With Glacial Augment, you slow them with your auto attacks, and since you rush Blade of the Ruined King first, Glacial Augment synergizes with your Blade of the Ruined King active. So if they're ever trying to catch up to you, first of all, you're so quick with your W. You're so quick. You got unreal movement speed. With approach velocity, if you're trying to chase them, you get another 15% because you're Glacial. So enemy champions that are movement impaired, so that synergizes completely with Glacial Augment. So your auto attack would freeze them, and then you get crazy movement speed towards them. And then if you're trying to kite them, you slow them like crazy, and then you activate your Blade of the Ruined King, so you steal movement speed from them, and then you shoot a freeze ray at them. So it basically means that they can never catch up to you when you have your combo up. And then after that, you just kite them to death. So I'm going to show you guys some gameplay right now of how busted Glacial Augment it is, and why you should run it every single matchup that I just said. Any melee matchup that does damage that is not Camille Aurelia, because they have no reliable way of getting to you other than them running at you, them flashing on you. But if you're able to kite them to death and stay a range distance from them, they will not be able to do absolutely anything at all, and you can just kite them to death. So it puts matchups that were not in your favor. So if you think about like Riven, there's some Riven can. Good Rivens will be able to dumpster you, but if you run Glacial Augment, there's not much you can do at all. There's absolutely nothing. She has to flash on you when you have your flash down. It's basically the only way she can catch up to you. So I'm going to show you guys some quick gameplay of Glacial Augment in action and how busted the Keystone actually is. Too quick, buddy. Oh yeah, flash. Flash away. You're going to flash away from a fucking Quinn with Glacial Augments. Okay, buddy. You're gonna flash away from a Quinn with red buff Glacial Augment. Okay. W max 2 with my Blade of the Ruined King slow on him, like he's gonna get away. It's the fucking chase build of the century. So you guys see from that short clip, like, although I did have red buff, even without it, like, you're able to chase anyone in the game. Like, they cannot run away from you with your W, with your approach velocity, with your glacial, with your Blade of the Rune King active that synergizes with glacial. Like, they're not running away from you, and even if they're trying to catch you too, you're just so quick, and you can kite them like crazy and slow them. And if Renekton can't catch up to me, then I can just kite him to death. So Renekton was in this matchup, but you can think about any bruiser that possible, and the same thing would happen. The only way they win, like Renekton right here, only way he wins is if he catches up to me, but I'm just way too quick with this build, and he's unable to. So his only option there was trying to run away because he couldn't catch up to me if he tried, and even if he tries to run away, he can't. So this build is perfect in these matchups. Alright, so now last one, Kleptomancy. So actually this is a recent rune that I've just picked up after the change to it in preseason. So I run this as another alternative into tanky matchups. So you could run press the attack into tanks, but if you think you can have kill pressure, I run Kleptomancy. So let's say if I'm playing against Sion, or any single tank matchup that you can think of, any melee one that doesn't do damage. So Malphite's the only one that I wouldn't run Kleptomancy into, because Malphite just does crazy damage. Like, it's just, he goes AP usually when he plays against Quinn with AP runes. So Klepto's not that good for that matchup, but it's good against tanks who are complete melee. Like, Sion's the perfect example, and he's a pretty popular pick too. So Klepto's really good into that. You basically just farm him to death. You get crazy gold, so you don't have to go for kill pressure at all. Literally, you can just farm your Klepto like crazy and just get a lot of gold from laning phase and then just carry off of that. Alright, and now I'm going to finish this video with the typical build that I would run top lane now. So before, people have been running just Stormrazor, including me, top lane in every case, and I don't think that's the thing anymore. So in almost so this is just for top lane, not AD carry, because AD carry you just run Stormrazor, Shiv, and IE, just a typical AD carry build. It's basically the same, but for top lane, this is I have developed the best 1v1 build ever, and I think it's so good on basically every single keystone that I talked about. The only one that I wouldn't run it on is press the attack, but all the other keystones, the press the attack one, I'd run the typical crit build, just because it's just it's just synergizes better with press the attack. But every other keystone, this is what I would run. So first things first, buy Blade of the Rune King as your first item. So this is amazing, and like I said, with Alacrity, which I'm going to run every time, this makes this makes your 1v1 unreal. You get attack speed, you get lifesteal, and you get the active, which is good. And even if you're not running glacial, every keystone is good for. Yeah, so I actually can't buy boots, but boots is typical. So if they're running so basically if they have tank, you run Berserker Greaves. If they have heavy AD, you go Tabbies. Heavy AP or CC, you go Merc Treads. So that's the boots, but I can't buy it this game because I have the magic boots on. Second one, okay boys, I go Black Lever second. So this is the Lucian build. I actually think it's way better top lane, because what Black Lever does, second, it gives you a huge power spike. What it does, it gives you health, which is good, AD, cooldown reduction, which is nice. Quinn is so good with cooldown reduction. So you see final rank with just 20% CDR, you can vault every 6.4 seconds and Q every 7.2 seconds, which is unreal. I always used to prioritize CDR so heavily before when ER was had crit. I'll always build cooldown reduction and try to get 40 every game. It's honestly, like, you can be really greedy with your E's, and when you're playing against those matchups like Riven and Jax late game, when they buy ER, they have crazy cooldowns, and the only way they beat you late game is if their cooldowns are shorter than your E is. So buying cool CDR is a necessity in many matchups. So this also gives you movement speed every auto attack when you cleave them, which is, it's not too much for range. I think it gives 10 per auto attack for 2 seconds, but there's still a lot. Like, every single piece of movement speed you can get is really good on Quinn. So third item, I go Zeal item. So this is basically, I only go Shiv or PD, it depends on the matchup. So if they have a crazy 1v1, so let's say I'm playing against someone who I'm going to have difficulty with 1v1ing later, let's say if I'm behind, or if their enemy 1v1 champ is just really good at 1v1, say they have a Jax who's going ER, they have a Fiora, they have Camille, Irelia, anyone who's very tough, I'd buy PD. Otherwise, I go Shiv, because wave clear is so good on Quinn. So even though I don't have Stormrazor, Shiv is still good for clearing waves, because that's what you want to do, and you get a little bit more damage. So it's either this, if you're winning the matchup and you have no problem, you go Shiv. If you need 1v1 potentially, go IE, or PD. Next one, I typically go IE or Stormrazor. So again, if they have tanks, I go IE. Otherwise, I go Stormrazor. Again, if I need the movement speed, if they have like a crazy champ like Riven and something where I need every single bit of movement speed, Storm Razor would be a lot better, but if they have kind of like tanky team, or if I don't need it, I could go IE. That's situational for that item. And then the next one, what I like to do is, if I could fit it in, I go Essence Reaver as well. So what this does, so right now this is a good final build, because I would have boots right here, but I can't afford it right now. But anyways, so what this build does, I would get Essence Reaver in many cases. Again, if I need someone I need to 1v1 against and it's very difficult, I could get Essence Reaver in my last item. But if they have a lot of burst, I could go Death Stance as well. Death Stance is a good item because it helps you survive. And yeah, that's just for those matchups. Otherwise, you could go PD or Essence Reaver. So what Essence Reaver, what this does, this gives me 40% CDR and Essence Reaver Flare. So if I'm playing against an Irelia who's so strong 1v1 and I'm supposed to deal with her, it is so much easier to do it. So right now I have 4.8 second cooldown on my Vault and 5.4 on my Q plus Essence Reaver Flare. So if I'm fighting something, I get cooldowns like crazy while I'm auto attacking. I can use Vault probably 3 times in a skirmish, like really quickly. So like if I'm 1v1ing, there is no way they're going to catch up to me. I have so much CDR and I have just crazy cooldowns with my Essence Reaver Flare as well. So Black Cleaver is also really good because I mean, you're playing top lane. Your job is you're going to have an AD carry 9 times out of 10, like a champion who actually does AD damage. So if you're able to cleave the armor, your AD carry is going to do more damage. That's why I like it way better than Lord Dominic's. And yeah, so another situational item I said too is Death Stance. So if they have a lot of they have a really big tanky team, you could go Death Stance, or not tanky team, if they have a burst team and you really keep getting bursted, Death Stance is really good for survivability, plus you get crazy lifesteal, and Death Stance now synergizes with like Shiv and physical damage, so it's a lot better for AD champs. And another situational item you get, last one, GA, Maw of Malmortius, Scimitar, it's all situational. You can also change your shit IE too, so if you feel like you really don't need the damage, you could have another build like this, where you go PD, and you could go, again, another situational item. The last 2 items are situational, but the first 3 are the ones that you should be worrying about. Oh, I just got 2 GAs there. The first 3 are the ones that you should be worrying about. So the last 2 items that you have are situational, depending on the matchup. If you can get away with damage, you could even go IE and Storm Razor, so you just get crazy crit. But if you don't really need that, then you could just go how I'm doing right now. So it really depends on the matchup. And yeah, so like whatever it is, but just making sure that your first 3 items, so again, you go Blade the Rune King first, Black Cleaver second, and Zeal item third, and then that's really what you have to worry about. And I find that really a way to be consistent, and it's a perfect 1v1 build, so no one's going to be able to 1v1 you at all. Like, no champ in the game, late game, will be able to 1v1 you, as long as you play it properly. Like, Quinn is one of the best 1v1 champs in the game, and with this build, she is 10 times better. It gives you everything you need with the 40% CDR if you go ER, so no matter what champ you're playing against, you'll be able to show them who's boss, you know, you show them that Valor is the queen of League. That's how it is. Okay, boys, I'm going to end the video here. If you guys have any questions about, let's say, like, secondary runes, because I couldn't go over that too much, because that's almost, like, my runes, for not Keystone, but my actual runes, depend on the matchup. So if you guys have questions for certain matchups, or if you want more clarity on other ones, I'll happily make a video on it, or I'll just reply in the comments. And I will also make more videos on matchups too, like actual videos. So this video I show some clips of the runes in action, the Keystones, but on my other videos I'll be posting specific matchups again, just so that you guys could see how I play certain matchups and these Keystones kind of in action, and showing like how powerful they are in certain matchups. So thank you boys for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.